Welcome back to our speedrun challenge, where we climb the chess ladder using nothing but opening traps. Will we score quick victories, or will our opponents smell the trap and turn the tables? Let's dive in and find out. Okay, we're playing black this time, and I know many people think opening traps are something only white can pull off, but as we've already shown in previous episodes, that's simply not true. Black has plenty of deadly tricks up its sleeve, and hopefully in this episode, we'll prove it even further. Let's go! Haha, all right. The King's Gambit. Not something you see every day, but I like the spirit. This is one of the sharpest openings in chess. We take on F4 and follow up with G5, fully embracing all the complications and tactical chaos of the main line. After G4, White usually follows up with Knight E5, aiming for some classic traps. But I've got a few counter traps ready to test our opponent's knowledge of the line. If I recall correctly, we start with Queen H4 check, followed by Knight C6. In this variation, we tempt White into capturing on F7, and that's when our nastiest traps begin. So far, our opponent is showing solid knowledge of the line, despite the low rating. Okay. Checking his profile, I see his ratings in other time controls are much higher than 1400. That explains it. Queen G4? Interesting choice. But I think I see a strong continuation for us. If I take the queen and White recaptures, his pieces will be scattered all over the board, giving us the chance to play D5, a fork that attacks two pieces at once. While our opponent is thinking, let's use the time to look ahead. If he captures with the pawn, I'm already eyeing a strong reply, Knight to D4. Yes, that's it. We'll be making two threats at once, and White can only deal with one of them. Either save the attacked knight or cover the vulnerable C2 square. All right, he moved the knight, which makes knight to C2 the most logical move for us. But before that, I want to double-check the calculations. The last thing we need is to get into trouble because of that weakness on F7. All right, everything looks safe, so let's go ahead with the plan. Yep, as expected, White is now doubling down on our F7 pawn, but we're ready. Bishop to E6, a solid defensive step before we unleash the next wave of our attack. King D8 is not possible due to Knight F7, which would fork our king and rook. So we simply move the king to E7. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our journey to the top of the Lichess ladder. Now let's retreat with our knight since it's done its job there, and we don't want to keep him in the corner for too long. With this move, we'll also attack D4. Counting the material, we're up a rook for just a pawn. From here, it's all about careful play. No blunders, like pushing the H-pawn and giving White a fork on our king and rook. We consolidate our position and steadily march toward victory. Our opponent is trying to stay active, aiming to take advantage of our pinned knight. But moves like Knight to E4 can be easily countered with Bishop to G7. Similarly, King to E1 clears the way, giving the rook room to swing onto the F-file. Let's proactively defend our knight on F6. So if White tries to attack it again with his knight, there won't be any real threat. At the same time, we're developing the last of our pieces, the rooks, which haven't yet found a clear role on the board. Knight to A4. Interesting. Honestly, I don't see many ideas behind this move, except the plan to jump to C5. And when you can clearly read your opponent's intentions, it's always good practice to stop them in their tracks. So, we play B6, stopping the knight's advance and preparing C5, which would cement our knight on D4 as a strong outpost, since white has no pawns on the C or D files to chase it away.
Now we can safely say our advantage is fully consolidated, and it's time to move to the next stage, converting it into a win. Knight to F3. Clearly, white is frustrated by our powerful knight on D4 and wants to trade it off. And honestly, that's fine by us. One of the easiest ways to convert a material lead is to swap off as many pieces as possible.
Just like before, since white has no pawns on the C or D files, we'll block the check with our knight, centralizing it, and at the same time, opening the first file for our rooks. And our opponent resigns. Kudos to him. He played a good game and chose to resign when there was clearly no hope, saving time for both of us. Let me show you the traps for black that exist in this opening. As I mentioned during the game, one of white's most likely continuations here is to capture on F7, either with the knight or the bishop. If it's the bishop, we simply step our king to D8. After the queen takes on G4, we retreat our queen to F6, hitting both the knight and the bishop at once. When white captures our knight, we recapture with the D-pawn, once again creating a double attack, this time on the queen and the bishop. The only way for white to defend both threats is to move the queen to H5, but we relentlessly keep the pressure on their uncoordinated pieces, knight to H6. And when their bishop retreats, bishop to G4 chases the queen away. Now the white queen can't stay on the H file. Every square is covered, so she's forced all the way to A5, far from the action. And here comes the final blow. We push F3, threatening to rip open the deadly F file right where the white king sits. The only logical reply is G3, but then bishop to H3 seals the deal, and the game ends in just a few moves. Now, let's see what would have happened if white had captured with the knight instead of the bishop. First, we play bishop to C5, threatening mate in 1. The logical defense is queen to E2, but then we hit back immediately with F3, attacking the queen. After a couple of recaptures, we strike again with D5, attacking the bishop and opening a path for our own bishop to join the attack. And when white takes the pawn, we unleash the final combination, bishop to H3, followed by bishop to G4, trapping and winning the white queen. And that wraps up another episode of our speedrun using nothing but opening traps. Today we saw how even as black, we can turn the tables with sharp tactics and relentless pressure. Big respect to our opponent for playing boldly, but once the traps were set, there was no way out. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next round of traps in our climb. Until then, keep your pieces active, your calculations sharp, and never underestimate the power of a well-timed trap. Bye-bye.